Let's all stand and say the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody. Glad to see we got a good attendance tonight. We don't have a whole bunch to cover, so go through this. We'll open the floor up. We've got one speaker. Under old business, the only thing at our workshop the other night, we talked about getting a stop sign on some of the streets where we're having problems, especially at the corner of Brook and Connersville Street. We are going to put one up. They've been ordered, they're just not here yet. So we will be putting a stop sign up there and make sure the notice is sent out on that, Jenny, so people will get used to it. If anybody's got any other streets that's a problem, you know, I think we ordered a half dozen stop signs. We'll address those as individual as we go, because there is some streets that people need to slow down on.
Yeah, we need one on East Seminary at River, both eastbound and westbound, mostly westbound. That needs to be a four-way stop. People get off of Mill Street, and by the time they get to Central Avenue, they're going 50 miles an hour. And there's little kids, 2 doors down that corner, and people across the street, and little kids running around. I would recommend put one at Rivers, one eastbound, one westbound at River.
River and what?
Seminary, East Seminary.
It might take a little doing. I'm not sure how big of an issue it is in terms of how many times it's happened. But the last big storm that went through, the stoplight went out, and I was inundated with phone calls of people saying that for some reason, one reason or another, I mean, typically when in the absence of a stoplight, it becomes a four-way stop.
Right.
Apparently not so much. So, yeah, I see everybody going, yeah, Tom, that's right. Well,
It's really hard to get them to stop when he's working.
yeah, right. So
People go through
Yeah.
and it was like supposed to stop when
Yeah, so
They're already through it.
I think the solution, honestly, probably to that one, maybe it's just simple as having Bruce go to work at erecting one of the four-way stop signs, and we just, whoever's in town, when that happens, gets a call, you just roll it right out of the garage, right out there to the
Or everyone at
intersection.
the fire station, we'll be happy to put it out there.
Okay. Do you want to take responsibility for that?
Good answer. I don't, it hasn't happened much in the past.
Right.
That's the first time I've ever seen it just go dead.
Yeah, that's the only thing, is it is,
Just go
Yeah,
the solution hurts the
Yeah.
problem as well.
Most times they're on the back of it, if something happens, they just go
Okay.
forward flat. That did that day.
And there were street lights all around them.
Yeah.
It was off.
I had that stop sign issue under new business. Guess I can cross that off. Covered that.
Tom, if you see any recommendations that'll help you, just let us know.
We talked about, the biggest one is the one up on Connersville. And I've spent quite a bit of time up there doing some extra patrol and letting some folks know that there's a possibility you're gonna get stopped coming into town there if you drive like that. So it's already, I think, produced some good results. And but I will tell you that a stop sign will be and that's a fairly inexpensive, easy way. Now, what's gonna happen in the beginning is we'll police it, and we're gonna have to give a lot of warnings, because you put a new sign up, you can't expect people to, but that's okay too, because that's just, a good opportunity to have interactions with people and say, yep, there's a new stop sign, we're slowing people down.
It is going to put that sign on the hill. So wintertime, it's going to put that sign on the downward side of that hill.
I wonder if we could do a warning sign, and I'm sure there's a statutory requirement for the length of space between that stop sign and a warning sign, but that may be worth looking into is first of all, is there a statutory requirement and what is it? And that's a little outside of my bailiwick, but I can research it if we need to.
I'd say we'd probably have to check with the county if we're gonna go outside to put a sign up. They would probably have to approve it. That'd have to be up your alley.
That is a thoroughfare for the county, right? That road.
Do they not know you work for the state? Does anybody have anything else under old business?
Well, Joe's not here. I was gonna ask him, if he found anything out about South Street,
Of the house?
the house on South
Yeah.
Street. He was checking, he was supposed to be checking, legally what can the town do to at least, possibly board the place up and make it safer. And, I apologize, I wasn't here at the July meeting, so I didn't follow up on it in July.
Well, he informed us at the time that we can't go in there and do anything
Right.
on our own. That's gotta be through her.
Then the other thing I had on old business was the streetlights. Bruce has completed the modifications on the bases to fit the existing stud bolts that are on the street. He's waiting on me to help him. I've been real busy and I haven't been able to, I was gonna help him put them up. But next week, I'm gonna put a day aside to help Bruce with the streetlights, get them stood up. And then just, the only other thing is update on the grant process. Terry, if you have any information, any new information anyway.
Yeah, on the SRF grant, 17th, we're having pre-closing, and the 24th is closing. That's when things will start happening, they'll release the money.
What was the other date? 17th pre-closing?
Pre-closing the 24th and closing. The grant with the county, the SIP has came back, which is a strategic implement plan. And we're reviewing it now, it looks pretty good, but they didn't change any numbers. So what we've talked about is still good. We'll have more information on that soon.
Yeah, I know we had some questions about how far they're gonna do it, if it's gonna go all the way or what, and I wish we could get an answer on that. We can't to them. But that falls under the other part of the money, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's just SRS closing now, Oprah will close later. But not, it won't be much longer.
Anything else under old business?
The only other thing I have was, remember I had the guy from the tree place come out?
Yeah.
The Arboretum, and he looked at the two big sycamores over where the old school property was. And the one, he thinks is probably in pretty bad shape. Because
One
it
to the
has
south?
visible, yeah, the one on the south side, because it has visible rot at the bottom. The other one has been hit by lightning a couple times, but he says probably okay. He recommended we probably, at the very least, have that one. So they're automatically a liability because of their location, even if they were totally healthy trees. Because you have the sidewalk and you have one right there. So he said that for sure, probably we should look at getting that one on the south side removed. So if you like, I could call, get 3 estimates on maybe getting that one down. You want me to go ahead with that? Get some estimates?
Yeah, I'd hate to lose them, but they're probably better off while we're doing it, just to get them both out. That's up to you guys on that. But if you get those bids, then we'll discuss it again,
Okay.
get quotes. Anybody else have anything in their own business?
That's all I have, John.
New business? Sure, do you have anything on that?
No, just an update on the grant, that's all I got.
We've never heard anything back from the county as far as getting, purchasing one of the speed limit signs.
They still haven't made a decision.
If nobody else has anything on the new business, we'll, on the agenda, Mindy's wanting to address the board tonight, so the floor is yours, young lady.
You here?
You not here?
She was gonna talk about the stop sign up there on Broken in Connersville.
Okay, we'll reach out to her then.
Do we need to have a vote to approve locating those stop signs?
Probably a good idea.
I'll entertain a motion, please. Vote yea or nay to go ahead and put a stop sign at corner of Brook Street and West Collinsville Street.
Are we gonna consider the Seminary Street issue one tonight, or are we gonna hold off on that?
We may as well do it all together. Does anybody have any other location that we need to look at now while we're doing this? Try to get it all at once. Seminary and Brook and West Connerville Street, Seminary and River, and Brook and West Connerville Street. That's what we're working on now, but even at a later date, just drop us a line or let us know your concerns. If there's somewhere else in town you feel unsafe, we can look at all of it.
My suggestion would be maybe the one right here on Main and Cherry, to slow that car down with something.
Yeah.
This is already a two-way north and south, but as soon as he comes through this light, you know when he's coming through this light. He's getting it to get home, jumping the tracks.
I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and replace it to one at Brook and West Connersville Street, the other one at Seminary and River.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to erect stop signs at the corner of Seminary and River Street, also at Brook and West Connersville Street. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. I can't give no deadline when we'll get them up, because the stop sign is not here yet, but they are ordered. Anybody have anything else under the agenda? That's about it. Entertain a motion to go ahead and approve the minutes. That's for July the 11th and July the 6th and July the 11th.
I'll abstain from voting on that, I was not in attendance.
I'll make the motion, we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes for July the 6th, 2023, July 11th, 2023. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. You seconded it, Phil?
I did.
Second. Next, entertain a motion to pay all the claims. We invite anybody that wants to show up on Thursday before our scheduled meeting, the Thursday before. We always meet and go over all the claims, and it's open to the public. Anybody wants to come, they're more than welcome, and I'll see how we, the bills are looked at. It's just, you folks shouldn't have to sit here for 2 hours while we're going over them tonight, and they can be done. And we like for people to look over our shoulders.
And we did have some people show up at the Thursday meeting and did ask some questions, which was nice. Usually nobody comes to that Thursday meeting because it can be kind of monotonous going over the bills and then sitting here watching us just sign papers. But it was nice that we had residents here asking some questions. So. The only thing that caught my eye, we had a couple of big ones. Our town attorney, and I asked the question at $8,209, and that was for work on the grant.
Right.
Correct.
He broke it down. If you look at that bill, he broke it down every meeting he sat in. He always even had to meet with Western Main Schools because of the easement there to get that done. So.
And payment for that does come out of the grant money, correct?
Yes.
And then the other one was RQAW's consulting fee. That was $2,000. And that's just to date, is that right, Terry? Just
No, that is actually almost at the end of it. The band has been paying that along the way, because theirs is on 100,000 or something like it, so they're winding down. But the band's frozen right now, so we just gotta
okay.
wait on it.
The rest just seems like, miscellaneous kind of maintenance things. What was the Gilman's for fencing at 106 West Walnut? I thought
They replaced that fence alongside the garage,
The old garage over there.
rotting and falling down.
Yeah, but I thought that was on a previous. I thought we already bought all that.
The invoice just came in on it, so we talked about it, but I don't think the invoice has come in yet.
I guess George is even gonna extend it himself on out through there, so that's good. Well, if nobody has anything else on the claims, I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and approve them.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims for July 7th through August 3rd, 2023.
I'll second the motion. Motion been made and seconded to pay all claims for the month of July the 7th to August 3rd, 2023. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Well, now we'll just open the floor up to the public. Anybody got to speak? The floor is open. Just let us know who you are and go at it.
I don't want to speak, but I would say on that sign up there at Connersville Brook, just one of those cheap signs that has the little lights on them nowadays, and not one that tells you your speed so much, but just something that's going to grab people's eyes, because they do fly out through there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived out there all my life growing up, and it is a racetrack. But like I say, for his sake, he may be stopping them for a month pretty heavily, because they're not gonna know that sign's there unless something just kinda catches people's eyes. But I do know they got the signs that's just got the little red lights around them.
Right.
And they do catch your eye pretty quick.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that-
those are sort of, and like you said,
Well, it's just like on the seminary, it's the same thing, because that's a racetrack anymore, so kinda have to catch their eye or just catch them, and that might be tough.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about the visibility of stop signs all over town. Really, there's trees, I have seen, a lot of them aren't visible due to tree branches. And I know the town doesn't really get into trimming trees so much, but I think when it comes to an issue like safety,
I gave him a list, he's supposed to put out
Is
pretty
he?
much that. At least he can see the sign.
yeah,
I drove around, found 8 of them, you couldn't even read it.
yeah.
And he's got a list, and I haven't went back and
So
checked.
you're already on top of this.
Yes, sir. Because I had a complaint.
I just wanna give you an update on the event from Saturday. She raised $300 to donate to the school and gave away the 50 backpacks. We had a pretty good turnout. It was a lot of fun as it was hot.
yeah, I've heard a lot of positive comments and want to appreciate you guys, but anything you can do to lift town, we should do it. The fire department's started, they called me today, done started things going for the next one, and I think he said it's gonna be the 3rd week in October next year, because we don't hit anybody else. There's so much stuff going on every week. We was rubbing shoulders with Metamore, rubbing shoulders with Glenn, so they had to, I think it's the 3rd week in October, what he told me. But they're done started setting up this and that, and I've got to check with the school, because they're really wanting to do some of it over to school, but I'll have to get that cleared to school, because they got their hands tied over there.
And what was this event?
No, yeah, we're getting back to the mountain days.
We're gonna do it in October?
It's cooler. We were melting.
Won't be cold. I have a question.
Sure.
Why don't we have a flagpole and a flag in front of our city building?
That's a good question.
I think I was at the meeting, it's been a while, that before the landscaping went in, and I thought that a flagpole and a flag was discussed. But, you know, shouldn't we have one?
We had one in the back, it's not been put up.
Huh?
We had one around the back, it's not been put up.
And you're correct, it was discussed.
Yeah, I thought it had
Yeah.
been, and then I thought, no, maybe I.
No, you were right, it was discussed.
And my recollection, I don't wanna throw Junior under the bus, he's not here, but he was gonna look into a pole that he had, maybe had a contact to get a pole, so
Okay.
Yeah, we
I'll
got
talk
the
to
pole
him.
It's just
outside
an
now.
observation.
Oh, it's here. Yeah, I'll probably send pictures to California of our landscape and stuff, because our resident that used to live here, his parents lived here, wants to donate something to that. He's one that donated the big clock in Cambridge in their little park, and he wants to do something for Milton. He wanted me to wait till we got landscape and stuff done to show us what it is, and he's going to decide. I have no idea what it is, but he wants to donate something to the town. And Arnold Boyd is, Arnold, he's the go-between him and this guy's he come in and see Arnold every year, so I've got to get those pictures and get them to that. I'll try to do that yet this week while the plants are in bloom and everything. And what he wants to donate, Lord only knows, but that's a good gesture.
Yeah.
Roscoe Jones is his name. I couldn't think of his name, but everybody in town knows Roscoe. Anybody else have any ideas, comments, questions? Okay, Mr. Tom?
Lou, I have asked Terry, this is more informational than anything, I've asked Terry to make a law enforcement report a part of the normal monthly meeting with your graces and blessing on that issue. I think that will also help us maintain the transparency we talked about in the beginning. And that'll just simply be, you know, a very basic, you know, going over the basic numbers from the prior month and providing some statistical analysis of what we did, and then just a couple quick blurbs on some of the good things that are going on, some of the challenges that we have, and some things like that. So if you all are okay with that, I've asked for that to start happening
That's
in October.
That's what the fire department does. They give us a summary of all the runs, this, that, so that'd be great, Tom.
I got something, John. On the fire department side, we need to figure out what we're gonna do about gear and packs. We've done everything you guys asked us to do. Our manpower's up. But the problem is now is our air packs, they're outdated. They're obsolete. We can't get new parts for them if something goes wrong. We need at least 8 to outfit both trucks. And our gear has less than 2 years left on for expiration date.
What else besides the air packs, as far as that gear?
Besides the gear?
Yeah,
Still need spare
coats and,
Yeah, we'll need good spare bottles. We'll need, the only thing we need for the gear wise is our coats and our pants.
but you need new of those. Did we ever replace, I understood the chief's coat had a tear in it, which is useless. If it's got a tear in it.
I don't know if that was replaced or not. That was the timing I wasn't with the department.
All right,
So I don't know if that one got replaced or not.
do you recall, Terry, us buying one? I don't recall us buying one.
No.
I'll get over to Clyde Peter and see if there's any grants that we might go, because we're talking high dollars when we're talking about.
Well, I know Acton just got a good chunk of change from Ohio.
Yeah.
You said bottles?
Yes. Because it all depends what air packs we go with, what type, style of bottles you have to go with.
A lot of them bottles already passed due already.
Well, we got 10 new ones. Yeah, but they're only the 30 minutes. So if we go with
45s.
the new MSAs, you're gonna go with 45-minute bottles.
Yeah, I guess we would rely on you guys to tell us
Right.
what's best, and
Yeah, we'll get a few quotes on everything, and we'll submit them. But we had to use old gauges too, so.
Or say 45 minutes.
Right. We're right to. There's somehow.
so you're gonna make some recommendations and get some pricing.
Right.
I'll check and see if there's any grants out that money floating around that could get that fall under health and safety, so. Anything we do for that, we gotta go with the trustees, because they're
Right.
50% up to them.
But the biggest issue with the air packs is we have to see what departments have around us. Because some of them you can only buddy breathe with each other, which means you hook a hose to your partner and you breathe the same air. Some departments, those buddy systems aren't compatible with different air packs.
You guys 145s now? I know that one's 145s, so,
But they don't like their MSS.
yeah,
That's what they're doing.
yeah.
How many tanks are you talking now? Air packs now, 8, is that what you said?
At least 8.
You want 45 minutes, correct?
If possible, yes. But we'll have to discuss how we're gonna fill them up too, because our Cascade's only the 2,500, or 25, 22/16. We just 30-minute bottles.
Looks like you've been on a lot of medical runs.
Yep.
In one structure fire, or are we gonna be able to submit to insurance company for
We got all the insurance information.
some compensation?
I'm waiting for one of our other firefighters to finish up the paperwork, then it'll be submitted. The motor vehicle accident, we got disregarded because it was just a slide off, so we didn't get no insurance information on that, and the rest was just medical.
What's the membership over there now?
14.
14. How many can respond?
All but 3 right now. One, we just wait until she turns 18, then she can start doing everything else, and then, we're waiting for Centerville to get their 1 and 2 started, so we can send one over there to get his firefighter 1 and 2, and he can start going in.
Are you done? Is that it? Tom, you have anything on the address?
Just that, we continue to make some good progress. It doesn't mean there aren't challenges, but things are still going very well. I'm excited to tell you that by our next meeting, I should have a fresh copy of law enforcement policies and procedures to put before you for your review, at least in draft, so you can get some ideas of what changes you'd like to make. So I think that's a big milestone, is having some policies and procedures in place. Both.
Is that the SOP that you've been working on, the standard operating procedures?
Yes, sir. So that, I'm just at the tail end of my first review and draft, and I took from it a local community of very similar size, also located in Wayne County, utilized theirs, which has been also reviewed for legal efficacy, and made some very, very minor changes that shouldn't affect anything. But at any rate, I'm very excited about that. I think that's going to help us in the future, and I expect for you all to see the first draft of that for the next meeting, if not sooner. I had a formal introduction with the sheriff today, and I was very encouraged by that meeting. I think some of you behind the scenes know that I've had some disappointing conversations prior to that with some of the other folks, but this went very well. I was very encouraged, and I will tell you that Sheriff Redder is very interested in teaming with us and seeing some successes from that relationship as we rebuild law enforcement in the community. So good stuff overall, and we continue to push forward.
That's great.
And how many, have you issued ordinance violations?
I have.
Or fines?
Yes, I have. In fact, we just issued the second violation notice on one. That was the first one. So those actually, so if you, hypothetically, you get a first ordinance for $250 and you haven't abated the problem or in some way, shape, or form showed that you're working towards fixing the situation, the second one is $500 in addition to that original $250 plus late fees. So it very quickly becomes a significant amount of money. So as promised in the beginning, we're working very hard with anybody that's in a situation that they have an ordinance violation. We're not just slapping them out willy-nilly. We're talking with them, making contact, and working together. In fact, just before this, I met with a citizen that had there was a dispute up on North over easement and some placement of wood, which is something we can talk about offline. But I will ask the question while I'm on it. Does anyone here, was there a time, would have been about a year ago, when there was a large tree on the easement there on the property at the end of North? There's a trailer on the easement. In fact, what's your address back there, ma'am?
Mine is 214 River Street.
So on 214 River Street, there's the gravel that goes back to her property, and it's easement. There was a large tree that was cut down about a year ago. Was that, did the town do that?
He had the electric company do it's what I thought. The other one was the other side where he's suing Dawn over, on the other side towards Dawn.
So the dispute is that this wood from this tree that was taken down, and again, I don't know why it was taken down or who had it taken down, but his side of the story is that was put, actually, he just walked in, that was put on the easement. Or I'm sorry, that was, the tree is on the easement, which it looks to me that it clearly is, and that the wood was then placed on
I have pictures.
his property. So he's since moved that wood back into the easement, and it's basically in a position where, depending on the size of the vehicle you took down the driveway there, it could be an issue. So we talked about it today, and the argument is certainly over, why the wood was put on his property in the first place. And then today what we talked about is why he took it and put it back where he put it. So that's the conversation where we were at today. So my question was just simply, did anybody know how the tree got cut down in the first place and why?
With the town, we don't cut down trees.
Okay, so
Like we discussed earlier,
yeah.
we're gonna trim where so stop signs are more visible, but we don't cut down trees.
Okay. All right. Well, that was my question on the issue.
Unless they're on town property, which is what we're talking about with the school one.
What are you talking about?
But private, trees that are on private property.
1-2, where's 212?
Down there.
Far down as you can go.
You're talking about down here?
Yep, last room.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. we
The
talked-
property that we're talking about is our driveway going back there, and we have an easement. It's 40 feet wide by 100 feet long. And technically, all these years, 25 years, nothing can be on it, nothing can protrude it, nothing. If you go down there, take a drive, they put the wood out. He had the tree cut by Duke Energy. And now, as we're going down the driveway, it's just an obstacle. I left at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it
God, would
was,
you have a little
Yes.
respect,
Yeah.
better respect in real.
and it was foggy out that morning, and it's difficult to see at night, and it's just something else to hit a vehicle with. They put vehicles all down through that. Over the years, I've had problems, scattered throughout for 25 years. But the rule of law is that you can't put anything in between that 40 feet by 100 feet. That's just the way it is. You guys also have access to our property because we have the grinding pump. And the town has to have an access to come and go too.
Yeah.
And they can't protrude, they can't have vehicles out there. I have pictures, there's vehicles with the rear end sticking out with wood in it, facing, if you was to make a hard right into my driveway coming south, then those boards, you could have scraped your vehicle if you didn't know that it was trying to be a problem. So my point is, we have nice vehicles, don't want them damaged, don't want anyone else's, such as my father or company, UPS, FedEx, the whole 9 yards. So that's the problem. There shouldn't be anything between 40 feet and 100 feet, just flat out.
with your permission, a
Yes,
picture of the wood that
yes.
they're talking about. There's obviously two sides to the speaking knowledge. Pass that around. So that's the tree that's cut down. And on this side of it is their shed, clearly on their property, their garage, which apparently originally was where the wood was placed. And you can see where the wood had sat for a year, seemingly, on his property.
And
Which
the
caused
right-
property damage, by the way.
Not with our permission, also.
The right of way is on private property though, correct?
The easement right away is
Right,
also-
an easement.
I've got a survey of the property right here.
It sounds like a neighborly dispute to me.
Can I speak?
Sure.
The wood that's out there is inanimate and it cannot move. It will not jump out into the easement drive, and it is not touching the gravel drive at all. It came from a tree that is on the easement, not on my property at 212. I had a renter at the time that the tree was removed, and he phoned me and notified me. I'm a very busy man, I run my own business. If I have to go into details, I was hit by a motorcycle last September, and it took my leg out. I can show you pictures and scars, and all the other proof you need to. And I just now got the time and chance to move that wood back over to the easement where it came from, with the stump would show you that I can put it back together. I'm a carpenter, I can glue that thing back together and make it look like a good sized tree stump. It is not moving, it's inanimate, it's gonna stay there. So the reason why I put it back on the easement is because that's where it came from. And I didn't authorize anybody to cut it down, whether it was my authorization or not, or
We
move
don't,
it on my
we don't
property.
get into cutting trees down private property
So,
or
right, I
whatever. We don't
understand.
do that. So
I
I can't understand why Duke Power come in and cut it down, just left it land. That's,
So I had to get a survey done because on the other side of my property, the neighbor didn't want to admit that when his trees fell and did damage to my roof, and I'm in the middle of litigation of that one. I go to court in September. I've moved in here and tried to make this place better. I've raised their property values of everybody around me, I promise. You come and look at the place. I can take and show you pictures. It's beautiful on the inside. It looks like a trailer trash on the outside. I'm sorry about that for me. But I'm the trailer trash guy because of it. And I'm getting a little bit fed up because I'm getting picked on. I bought that place for cash. And I just had a determination to make it look good. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not in violation of any easement rights because I've done the research on the easements. I know easements because I came from a property with easements. I've also talked to surveyors. I have a question. Who owns the easement? There's trees right against my house that limbs are touching my trailer right now, sir. Who owns those? Am I going to get in trouble for trimming them?
I would think not.
I mean, because I'm getting, the officer came to my place because of other issues involving the easement that's not my concern as far as I'm concerned. The tree came from the easement. All the wood that she's complaining about came from that tree. It was cut down off the easement, I can show you, sir.
I'm pretty
Okay,
sure.
I even tried to deal with some of it, but I'm only one man and I've got a lot to deal with, sir. I've got 5 children, one's a 4-year-old. That's a lot to deal with, so I'm just trying to do the best I can as a citizen. All I did was move in and buy the place and try to clean it up. It was a 30-yard dumpster to get that guy's trash out of there. You guys all know who used to live there. Everybody who ever knows it's a small town.
How many people have been in and out?
Right. All I'm trying to do is making me want to go find the worst renter I can find and put him there.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know. Sir, I'm
That's
joking, I'm
rarity.
being sarcastic, but seriously, I'm just trying to make it a
That's a
better
rarity
place.
that, you know, that's a problem we got. A lot of these people that own these residences, they don't care who they rent to, it's just, I get my money,
I
you
come
know,
from the
and we've had that issue before.
I work for a lot of places
But
up
this
in
is-
Indianapolis, and I don't want to try, I'm just trying to make a better life outside that city.
Well, the thing is, you guys, I don't know what the answer is, but as neighbors, we're gonna have to try to get along.
Can we get an answer as
It
to
would have
who
been
owns-
nice if a neighbor would have came and spoke to us first before they called a police officer.
Or
brought it to
took
the town
pictures of
meeting
our
before
kids
saying
from their front
something.
porch,
That
we've
would have
never
been
even
nice.
spoke to this.
But we're not gonna,
A
We could be
legitimate
neighbors.
question, a legitimate question I need answered is who owns the trees on the easement? Because if they cause damage to my property, I need to know who's responsible for the damage.
well, we need to.
So if I need to go further, I've already paid thousands of dollars for surveys.
So do you have a current survey?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It's right here.
Because I know if a neighbor's tree
Yeah.
branches are over onto your property, you're allowed to trim any branch that's overhanging on your
And
property.
there's rules that say if those branches are over your property and there's benefits to those, let's say that there's an apple tree and the apples fall on my property, I'm entitled to those, but if there's damage from the tree, it goes the other way, it goes on the owner of the tree. I've done and I'm not trying to make that
No,
here nor there.
I recently
I've
had
done-
to look into the same thing.
Okay,
happened.
so I'm in the middle of litigation.
If
with
the
down
neighbor's
side.
tree falls on your house, they are responsible.
Yes, sir. And right now, I've got a man who not just one branch,
what
but
about
two
on the
branches
easement?
fell on my, that's where,
The trees
let me
on the
finish,
easement.
let me finish.
Yeah.
I'm in
Well-
the middle of a litigation, and here I am in the middle of a council meeting, because I have a feeling I'm going to be in the middle of another one if I get a branch from the easement that falls on my place and does damage.
Well, I would say a couple things here. My best solution for this is a short-term solution. It's only a Band-Aid. But what I would recommend, and I know that the town doesn't want to get into the business of going in and cutting trees and things like this. This tree is already cut. They're too large a piece of wood for one person to move any great distance. However, I feel like we probably would not have a hard time at all finding somebody that said, oh, I'll come get it. I'd love to have that wood. It's already cut in large pieces, as you saw. So as a temporary, I was hoping that maybe we could get something done with the wood so we can at least fix this situation. We're not gonna fix this relationship.
Just as an informative though, some of these pieces of wood are over 30 inches in diameter.
Right.
It took this long for them to dry out for me to even handle it.
They're big, but anybody who wants
So
the wood,
that's why they got
will come
it
in and
over
cut
there.
that within the course of an hour. They'll have it cut and load in the back of the truck. So my recommendation is that we at least consider assisting, because I think it's a problem. Maybe as a community we can help, because I don't think either
Well,
one of these
why don't we
parties
just
can do
come
it.
over there with a backhoe and get that wood out of there? I mean, we won't make any difference.
I have no problem with that.
Which would be
It's
fine.
It's right off the easement, it's not even on my property.
Okay, we can do that. I mean, let's try to settle the
And
situation.
that at least settles that,
Okay,
as far as wood.
I will get with both parties and let you know when we're gonna do it.
Well, I think the neighbor right across the street from you, he sells wood. And I think that's Lucas.
He doesn't want it, it's me.
He don't want it.
Mhm.
Really? Oh, neighbor, okay, I was gonna say that, might,
He came and got the other, I had.
did he? Good, good.
Well, to settle this, we'll come get the wood off there and be done with it. I hope that doesn't create something else, but
Can I just,
that's about all we can do.
can you point me in a direction of where, or maybe the council or the town would find the answers to who owns the easement as?
I will have to get with our town attorney that and.
Am I gonna get in trouble for trimming those trees off my
No,
property?
if you're on your property, absolutely not.
I mean, they're hanging over and I gotta go on the easement to put a ladder up against the trees.
You're allowed to go on these, but you're not forbidden.
I've been told I'm not allowed to go on the easement, so.
You're allowed to
Okay,
utilize.
thank you.
I think the
I don't
county
have any
surveyor would be
business here,
somewhere to
do
go
you?
with it too. He should know exactly who owns what. The county surveyor, he'll know.
You guys can, you know where I live at 200.
We'll get with the right people and try to get you an answer. I'm sorry I can't.
My name's Jake. I'm sorry I had to meet some of you all this way. I'm not
I'm not
trying to be
putting
the
you off.
bad apple in your guys' town. I'm trying to be the one that helps things out a little bit. I don't understand what's going
All
on.
right.
That's what we're here for.
Both parties just trying to keep it cool, to let us see
Thank
what
you.
we can do to try to rectify this.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Have a good day, buddy.
You too.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to mention on the easement part, and Terry will remember this about 25 years ago, when we first moved there.
You say,
Well, I'm just saying, we've been here a long time, okay? We have. And remember Jim Higgs had to come out there, and it finally got resolved that that was a old street, in the same way on the other side of Don's and Pritchard's and Ben Rowland over there on the other side by the barn. It looks like the street didn't get extended
Right.
out is what the problem is. And nobody owns it. But in RD, but not in D's or
it was.
the trailer,
Donated for street was never dedicated.
it was never dedicated. And therefore, they got access to it. We use it for a personal driveway because we're like blocked off if that's not in and
Yeah.
out for us. And nobody can block it. Sometimes we have tractors, that kind of thing. But nobody owns it, so he's just very confused. He had a surveyor come survey his property. He knows where his line is.
Property lines are.
And if y'all go down there, you can tell he's living way over it. But that's just my point. That has already been determined 25 years ago.
But I think there's a new issue, and I think the new issue is the allowable and appropriate usage of the right-of-way. I think that, because that's really truly become the issue, because he admits to pushing the wood back out in the easement.
Yeah.
Which was
Well,
no
that's-
small task, I promise you.
You know-
Trust me, they're a lot bigger than they look in those pictures.
No,
I mean, that had been a lot of work.
I agree. That's what was bizarre to me, you know, but that's the thing. He needs to find out what the rules are for the easement itself and then go from there. And you're just not able to deal with things, so my husband tried to find him and he couldn't find him.
But we can't find them.
But that's another subject.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to let you know that Terry, way back when, that was already determined.
Oh, that's where we
Just
had
saying.
that problem, that water line, wasn't it? That's
Yes, yes. Yeah, I live back behind Dawn,
Yeah.
and then the trailer, and then D. King lives to the right of that. So, yeah. We got the 72 wonderful acres.
Well, like I said, we'll get the wood out. Then as far as this and that, you guys gonna have to resolve that yourself. We don't want to get involved in a match like that.
And I
We can't-
understand
we
that
can't get
end of
involved in
it.
that.
But I just want to make sure that the easement part has already been clarified.
Well, I'll try to see, I'll get with the town attorney and see what he tells us on that, because I wish I knew. I really don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, the survey should show it.
It's
He said
the-
he just recently had a survey.
The lines of easement property are clearly marked, because he has had it recently surveyed. So that's not the issue. There's no argument over whose property is whose. The argument is, what can you do with that easement? So if he wanted, could he go park his vehicle in the middle of the easement that she requires to get to and from her residence? Can he push those large pieces of wood out onto the easement from his property and just leave them? Those are the issues, and I don't have those answers, so I think you're spot on, John. I think if we can get some advice of town council, literally council, that would be helpful. Sorry, I know I got a little sidetracked there. We were talking about, yes, I've issued some UTTs, or better known as citations, and yes, we've issued some ordinance violations. We also have a handful of ordinance violations that we're attempting to locate the appropriate party to notify them, again, because we don't want to just arbitrarily slap an ordinance violation on. So those wheels are turning, and we're moving ahead.
But, you know, if he's trying to block your driveway, not give you access to your residence, you can't do that. Yeah, I mean, that's common sense. I wish you guys could say it to yourself, but
well, I physically can't communicate with him because he gets very irrational and causes more problems, and I'm very ill. I do not need to be dealing with
you don't
all
need
of
that in
this
your life now, do you?
drama. No, I'm very, very sick, and it's too much. I want peace to come and go from my home. I should be able to live in peace, and right now it's like, you never know what you're gonna wake up to.
Well, like I said, we will move the wood, you know, courtesy to both
Thank
of you.
you.
And the rest of it, I mean, you guys just gonna have to get
I mean,
on
if you guys
yourself.
wanna cut the trees down, the Rumels are the ones that planted the trees years ago. Back when it was very contentious, and I told them it wouldn't be a good idea, but, you know, what can you do?
Does anybody else have anything else? That gives us something to do next week, doesn't it?
Sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay. I wish we had a better answer, but I do not know. Just let the town attorney get involved and let him handle it, that's all we can do.
Yes. I
But I'll
agree.
try to get him over in the backhoe to get the wood out of there.
Okay.
Stop some of it anyway.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Terry, the alley that runs, you know, on our block,
Is that vacated or not? Runs, behind your house, behind Hughes?
Yes, that one is, what runs east and west?
Yes.
Yeah, that was vacated about 5 or 6 years ago.
And then the end of it is where the trailers use as the driveway.
Right. That was vacated long before that even, so the whole thing is.
Okay.
Don't you be pushing wood out there.
Ultimately, my husband wants to put up a privacy fence, so he's just trying to figure out where it would go with the back of our property. I don't know.
Half of whatever the alley was goes both ways.
I don't know he'll be in touch with you, but when he just gets closer.
Do we have a list of easements that are, whatever they're putting? Like the one behind my house and have them on east and west and north and south. Are they
Oh, you mean,
vacated?
do we have a list of
Vacated alleys?
vacated alleys and stuff?
Yeah, are they vacated?
Some are and some aren't.
Is there a list? So I know that I need to mow it?
Some of them ended up in the ordinance book way back when they were
And there've been some before that, but that's what we had right
So,
Left open.
I don't even know, this doesn't even have a,
special ordinances.
yeah, it's under special ordinances. And the only subject under it is vacation of streets and alleys and public ways. And there's a few in here that you can see were voted on and signed, approved by whatever council at the time. So, but I don't know how complete this is, as far as,
I'm just asking.
but we should have some public record here, because usually the town attorney has to take care of the legal part of it, so.
I know the one that
We've
runs
done
north
here.
and south.
The last 20 years is in there, but that could way back. Who knows?
I know the one that runs north and south is utility access, well, it's not accessible, but it's for the utilities. But the east and west one is, there's no, there's a pole at each end, or this end of it, the east end of it, but it's never, I do my best. But the utilities couldn't get in. We were asked to move our box truck out of the easement because the utility companies couldn't get in there. Tom Wadsworth still has his trailer and vehicles sitting in the easement.
Well, I know that when people request an alley be vacated, when a resident, we always, one of the stipulations, there can't be any utilities on it, or we won't vacate it.
That's understandable.
So typically, it's the north and, ones that run north and south, because most of the east and west ones have utilities on them. And Duke will cut down trees. They'll take the small stuff, but they'll leave the big chunks of wood every time.
Are they still doing that now? Are they
Yeah,
still
I
out
think
and
they've
out?
been-
So that's apparently what's happened in this situation, is they got
Yeah.
that tree
We were
down.
home, we were trucking, so I have no idea. I just was told that Duke done it, by him actually.
Have you ever asked Mr. Pugh next door who did it, who cut them? Because I know, Honest out there had a couple that fell and actually went on his roof, but Donnie paid for those.
Right, you mean D?
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about, no, D's in the other house, I'm just talking about, you said you talked to Kenny Pugh, so Kenny should know who cut every tree there, whether it was Duke or whether it was a private.
I don't know about Kenny, but.
He would know.
I can't see Duke cutting it up in sections though.
No.
Somebody else has cut that. I mean,
That's
Duke
why
might have
I
dropped
say,
it.
I think all that was done during the storm about a year ago, and when that storm,
He's actually burnt some of that particular wood.
like I said, it's not really good for firewood, it's just more for ashes, but
Yeah.
as I say, Donnie paid to have his trees
Oh, I
cut
know.
because he didn't want no problem with trees.
Mm-hmm,
And I remember when you were talking about Little Wade planted all those trees
yeah,
a long time ago.
yeah. It's been about 25 years.
Well, you should ask Kenny if you need to know who cut the trees down, you can kind of go. But again, I still say the county surveyors who's gonna know who those trees belong to and who they
Well,
don't.
they just had it surveyed.
Yeah.
I know.
Is Duke
They
still
still
using
get
that lumber
adjusted
around
quick.
here?
What's that?
Is Duke still using that lumber around here?
It is actually on
I
the
just haven't seen it.
I just haven't seen
the
it.
trees are.
Because
As I say, though, most
they're on
trees
our
fall
board
under
like they
active.
did
Yeah,
last
they
time.
everybody got
I mean,
And I
you put a
know.
big lawsuit up against Donald.
I know, that's what doesn't make sense.
Trees. Drop it in the backyard.
Yeah.
We want that one, thank you.
They're supposed to be cutting the one on the corner of our property. I ain't cut it down yet.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, are they even still in town?
Oh, yeah, they're still here.
Where?
They got a
They're
subcontractor
just
doing
jumping
that
around.
for them.
They're just going everywhere.
Because I haven't seen them. They're probably the ones that tore the power line down between me and the Paynes.
Apparently he got the guy on Small Hill Road straightened out, cause he never called me back, you know, the one that, I had somebody call him when he was doing the paperwork, remember? The guy said, somebody got on Facebook, said call him. Yeah, he never called me back, so apparently Duke, or the contractor got down and done it, cause I didn't hear a word from him.
I have another question.
Sure.
Dealing with that easement, and easements in general, can we ask the lawyer who maintains like the gravel on that actual easement? Is it the town, since they got the easement with us now, because we give them permission to come and go?
I would think if it's on private property, the owner of the property would have to maintain it.
Yes, I know on our end, like our property starts where the telephone pole is behind the trailer, but from the trailer, that 40 feet by 100 feet, like that dead end part basically, who maintains that part? My husband keeps kind of, you know, we got a bulldozer and the track hoe and everything, but you know, who maintains like the gravel and keeping it, the upkeep? We have done it all these years, but he gripes and carries on. He would like to know that
I would say
answer
it's
also.
probably you because you're the one using it more likely.
Well,
Because if,
technically.
I'm saying because you're the one using it. So,
And even though the town has an easement right to go on
Right.
there because of, for utility purposes,
Yeah,
it's still on private property. I would think it would be the owner's responsibility to maintain it.
so then that would almost be that we're the owner of it. I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, are we multiple owners or are we owner owned?
careful.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
I'd say you want half this section.
I'll be cutting trees down tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, be careful, Rob, I got enough to do.
Whoa.
I know I had mentioned it, I don't know how long ago, about us, the town maybe doing a little bit better job of maintaining the alleys that are not vacated, because
Yeah,
I'm sure that probably under most of them, there's a good gravel bed that the grass is just grown over and you can't even tell there's an alley there.
right.
There's actually asphalt under our
And
grass.
trees growing onto them and you can't even, they're not even passable. So that's something, you know, we could possibly look into.
Anybody have anything else for the board? Suggestions, anything? If nothing else, Phil, do you have anything?
No.
Rob?
No.
Cedric? Terry? That being said, I entertain a motion that we adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned.